Hello, I'm Zaccura and welcome back to my channel and to the recap of week 3 of Mermay. Apologies for the delay in this video getting uploaded. I was feeling a bit under the weather for a couple of days after week 3, so I didn't get to editing this video until a bit later. But I have been keeping up with drawing every day, so hopefully week 4's video will still be going up at the right time. But for now, let's talk about week 3. So the theme for this week was one I had been excited to do for a while, and it is refreshing. Okay, honestly, I wasn't sure what name to give this theme until I started writing the script for this video because I was like, mermaids inside drinks sounded too lame, and I'm also reading this script right now and just realized I completely forgot to add any punctuations to this sentence. But yes, I had this cute idea of having mermaids inside of different drinks. And as I mentioned at the end of last week's video, for week 3 I decided to pull out my Copic markers, which I haven't used in ages, which was awesome. I've had my Copics for years. I pretty much learned about coloring and shading and lighting with them, so they carry a lot of nostalgia, especially when you pop those caps off for the first time after a long time and you get a little whiff of that unique smell they have, and then you glide them over that paper and they make that little squeaky sound. And I know that sounds really weird, but yo, if you have Copic markers, don't even try to tell me that you don't know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, before this turned into a shameless love note to Copic markers, I mentioned that for week 3, all the pieces are illustrations of different drinks with mermaids inside. And for day 1, or I guess I should say day 15, I went with a cherry drink. Honestly, for most of these I just made up the drinks, so they don't have names, or I guess they could have any name you like. But yes, day 15 was cherry, and I made the mermaid's tail fin kind of look like mint leaves poking out the top, and I think it came out pretty nice. And that was day 15. For day 16, I went with an orange drink. Also, spoiler, but I don't actually have any footage for the sketches or line work for any of this week's pieces. Sorry. It's just that as a way to keep up with drawing every day without sacrificing my life, a lot of the time I drew the line work and stuff in other places than just my desk. And I don't exactly bring my camera and tripod with me everywhere, so yeah, this week's footage is just the coloring. But I mean, that's where the real action is anyway, am I right? But if you are curious, all the line works were done the exact same way. First, I do the pencil sketch, and then because I was using Copics to color, and I couldn't remember if the Tombow brush pens were alcohol proof, you guys are gonna have to let me know, or I can just go and test it. I went the safe route and used some good old Micron fine liners for the line work because I know that they are alcohol proof. Now back to day 16. For each of the pieces this week, I wanted to make sure each of them were different and unique, so each of them have different fruits and color schemes, and also different glasses. So for day 16, I went with this roundy, tallish... Okay, you can see it. I really don't need to explain it, do I? But I must say, I kind of messed up the coloring on the base. I just kind of put some color, and then I didn't like it, so I put some more color, and then I still didn't like it, so I put some more color, and before I knew it, there was too much color. Surprise, surprise. I think drawing glass is a very fastidious thing. Yeah, I totally use a thesaurus for that word. Because it's actually a lot simpler to pull off than I think a lot of people would think. But because it is simple, you can easily overcomplicate it and end up putting too much color or shading to it. And that's because glass, for the most part, is clear. So your paper does most of the work for you. You just need to add a few little lines in the right areas and bam, you've got a beauteous drawing of a glass. But sometimes you don't quite put those lines in the best places like I did this time, and so I tried to save it by adding more color, and soon it lost its clear quality. I think overall the drawing looks good. I think adding so much color did something to the overall appearance of the whole illustration, but I think the glass itself just isn't as clear looking as I would have liked. But y'all can let me know what you think. And that was day 16. For day 17, I went with some nice, tasty strawberry lemonade. And to be honest, this one may be my personal favorite of the week. I just think all the colors are really cute and pleasing to look at. But this one was also special because it's the only one where I had to pull out my pink Winsor & Newton ink because I didn't quite have the right color when it came to my Copics. I have about 45 different colors of Copic markers, and I realized while doing this piece that I don't really have a mid-toned pink. I have this one very saturated sort of hot pink color and then like 3 very light sort of skin-toned pinks. And so that made blending the colors out for the gradient of the drink very difficult, and eventually I decided to just pull out my scarlet colored Winsor & Newton ink to help out, and it worked very nicely. I also think that of the mermaids this week, this one has the most cohesive design. I based her off of a strawberry with her green hair and pink body, and I think she just really fits the whole theme of strawberry lemonade. And yeah. Also, I'm not sure if you guys already noticed, but for the little droplets of condensation water on the glasses for each of this week's pieces, I used a white gel pen for the shiny bits and also a colored ballpoint pen for the outlines. And that was a really lucky turn of events because I wasn't planning on using ballpoint pens for that part, but when it came to the step of adding those droplets in, I figured using a black pen would look a little too dark for that. And then I just sort of tilted my head to the side and saw all of my colored ballpoint pens that I had gotten a while ago back when I was into doing pen sketches. And I was like, hey, I just so happen to have a color for each of this week's pieces. Day 17 was pink, but I also had green and blue and brown and orange, and I just so happened to just base each illustration off of one of those colors. So that worked out really nicely. It's just a really small detail that honestly doesn't matter that much at all, but I think that's the cool part of doing art over the course of a few years, because after a few years of collecting random supplies, you eventually get to this point where just deciding what tools to use for an illustration ends up being a very fun and creative process in itself. Because you end up being like, I think that ink would work best for this part, and acrylic would work best for that part, and that one random marker I have sitting at the bottom of my drawer for some reason would just be absolutely perfect for this one little detail. Especially if you're the kind of artist that really enjoys learning about different mediums, because eventually your artwork becomes this decoupage of different mediums, which I think is really cool and fun. For day 18, I went green and did a kiwi drink. And to be honest, going into this piece, I thought for sure I'd have no issues working with the greens and getting the hues I wanted because I have an array of green colors from very light to very dark. But the thing is, they were kind of all over the place when it came to the warmth of the colors. I had a couple that were very warm greens, closer to the yellow side of the color wheel, and then I had these other greens that were much closer to the blue side of the color wheel. And so they didn't really all go well with each other, and especially because I feel like kiwis are more on the light yellowish green color, It was really difficult to get that out of the quite bold and saturated greens I had. So I ended up just rolling with it and made the drink a very green. I mean, hey, maybe the bartender slipped a couple of drops of green food coloring in there, you know? I mean, how would you know? How would you know your fancy smancy kiwi drink isn't just a concoction of Mountain Dew and green Ramoon? And also kiwis. Also, along with glasses and fruits, all the drawings this week have ice. Yeah, and when it came to this day, I put these big ice cubes in there thinking they'd look all nice and cool. Ba-doom boom. And then I totally messed up the coloring. I mean, look, the end result looks pretty good, but those ice cubes don't quite look like ice cubes. They look more like if you took a green smoothie and poured it into an ice cube tray and froze it, and then popped it into your Mountain Dew green Ramoon kiwi concoction. Boy, I'm making this drink sound pretty awful, aren't I? Look, it's delicious, okay? It's delicious. Until you try it for yourself, you can't judge. It is the best drink you've ever had. It's gonna be Instagram famous. Anyway, that was day 18. For day 19, I went with a colorful berry blast drink. To be honest, I just realized how many times have I started with "to be honest" for each of these days. I did a lot of bad things, guys. I must confess. I must come clean. I must be honest. But anyway, I had originally planned to have this drink be mainly blue with just a little bit of red at the top, but then as I kept coloring and blending, I started adding yellows, and the yellows mixed with the blues, which made green, so this ended up being quite the rainbow drink. Well, you know, I think it came out quite pretty, you know? Feel the rainbow, taste the rainbow. And swim in the rainbow as well, apparently. And I also added a whole lot of fruits to this one. I put the strawberry and the lemon and the blueberries and the raspberries, which ended up tying in with the rainbowness of this drink, since the fruits are all different colors that are inside the drink. So that just worked out really well. When it came to the glass, I kind of broke the trend by having a square glass rather than a round one. And I put the glass at an angle because I figured that if I just drew it straight on, then it might just look like a tall round glass. But I must say, at the very end, I painted over the entire left side of the glass with a very light coat of white paint so that it looked shiny, and boy, that was nerve-wracking. There is nothing scarier than spending an hour coloring something in only to have to slather on some white paint over it and hope you don't make it too opaque. But out of this fearful journey, I came to realize that watered down acrylic paint, like white acrylic paint, works way better for the shiny parts of the glass rather than how I had been doing it for all of the days prior, which was just to use my white gel pen and then smoothing it out with my finger. So that's a random little trick for you guys. If you ever need to add some shiny bits to something in your illustration but don't want it to be completely opaque white, just take some regular old acrylic paint and dip your paintbrush into some water before painting with it. And it looks really nice. So I have a confession. That's right, I must be honest once again. But I actually finished day 20's piece before day 19. I just got mixed up because, like I mentioned before, I had done the line works for these pieces before off camera, and so I already had a stack of them, and I kind of forgot which one I drew on which day, so I ended up coloring this one you see here first, but honestly, it really doesn't matter, does it? Like, I don't even know why I need to mention it. It's just that I gotta be honest, guys. For day 20, I went with a martini glass, and judging by the lime next to the glass, this is clearly some kind of lime teeny. I just really wasn't feeling the idea of drawing olives on the table. This is supposed to be a fruity, sweet, child-friendly week of drinks. Well, I mean, not sure how child-friendly all these drinks are. I mean, how would you know if they're spiked or not? But at least I wanted to stick with the fruity theme, and technically olives are fruits, but they just no. So I'm not really sure what this drink is, but either way, I wanted to stick with a very simplistic look, so there's no ice this time, and instead I put that little citrus rind in there, and I made the mermaid have this really demure and bored expression. And yeah, not much more to say about that. It was a very simplistic day. And finally, for day 21, I went with some boba iced tea in a square mason jar type glass. I didn't actually get to coloring this piece until like Saturday because I wasn't feeling well, but I did finish the line work on the 21st, so yeah. I know that most boba teas usually have like milk in them, but that would make the drink opaque and then you wouldn't be able to see the mermaid. So in my head, this is just literally lemon iced tea with boba. I'm not entirely sure how great of a combination that would be. I mean, I've had strawberry lemon iced tea with boba and it was great, so maybe boba is just good in everything. Have you guys ever had boba drinks? And if so, what is your favorite kind? Because there are a lot. But anyway, back to this piece. I had realized only after finishing this piece that I had accidentally drawn the glass like not totally straight. It's kind of wonky, and I kind of exaggerated it even more by making the little strip of light at the end on the glass. Like I made that strip of light very straight, so it makes the glass look extra wonky. But you know, that's illustration for you. I kind of barely made it with the coloring on this piece because like all of my brown Copics are running out of ink. I apparently use a lot of brown, probably because of like hair and stuff. And I don't think I have a refill for most of them, so it was a little hard to smooth out the streakiness of the strokes. But in the end, I think it came out pretty nice. And that is a wrap for week 3. I feel like I kind of criticized the pieces a lot this week, but to be honest, oh my god, again with the to be honest. I'm actually really happy with the pieces this week. I think they are really cute and they go together in a nice set. But of course, I'd love to hear what do you guys think. So do let me know what you thought of this video in the comments and let me know which of the drinks this week is your favorite and why. For week 4, I'm going back to digital art once again, but this time I will finally be doing some mermen, because so far they have all been girls and the time has finally come to draw some dudes. So looking forward to that, and that video should be going up at the end of the week like usual, probably around Saturday-ish. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and hit the little bell so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. I make new videos every week. If you'd like to follow me on social media and keep up with my mermaid journey, all the links to that are in the description box. And until next time, stay awesome, stay inspired, always. See ya!